Before this journey began, our home felt full, not just with love but with stuff. Drawers wouldn't close, closets overflowed with things we thought we might need, and surfaces were always cluttered. Tidying became a cycle, moving things around, never truly creating space. Our home story was getting lost under layers of old clothes, unused gadgets, and books we never read. We were living in the past and the what-if future, not the present. I realized we needed more than a weekend cleanup. We needed a new way to see our belongings. I wanted a home that felt calm and intentional, a sanctuary, not a storage unit. That's when I started searching for a simple, empowering principle to help us let go and make room for what truly mattered. There was a time when my home felt like a maze of memories, half-finished projects, and just-in-case items. Every drawer and closet seemed to overflow with things I thought I might need someday, but rarely touched. I was searching for a way to bring order and peace to my space, but every method felt overwhelming until I discovered the 90-90 rule. The rule is beautifully simple yet surprisingly powerful. It asks just two questions. Have I used this in the last 90 days? And will I use it in the next 90 days? These questions cut straight to the heart of whether something truly belongs in your life right now. If the answer to both is no, it's time to let it go. It's a gentle nudge to release what's no longer serving you, making space for what matters most. This rule, introduced by the minimalists Joshua Fields Milburn and Ryan Nicodemus, is a game changer. It helps you move past the guilt of letting go, those feelings that you're wasting money or erasing memories. Instead, it offers clarity and confidence in your decisions. The 90-90 rule isn't about deprivation or living with the bare minimum. It's not about what you might need someday, but about what serves you now in this season of your life. It's about making your home a place that supports your current needs and dreams. 90 days is roughly a season, long enough to account for regular use, but short enough to avoid the trap of just-in-case clutter. It's a time frame that encourages you to be honest about what you actually use, not what you hope to use someday. Suddenly, decisions become practical, not emotional. You're no longer weighed down by the pressure to keep things out of obligation or fear. Instead, you're empowered to choose what stays and what goes, based on your real life. Of course, there are exceptions. Sentimental treasures, family heirlooms, or items with deep meaning. The rule isn't about stripping away your history, but about making sure your space reflects who you are today, not just who you were. The 90-90 rule isn't about getting rid of everything, but about keeping what's useful and valuable today. It's about curating your belongings so that each item has a purpose or brings you joy. It's a boundary that helps your home evolve with you, adapting as your needs and interests change. Your space becomes a living reflection of your present, not a storage unit for your past. The 90-90 rule isn't a one-time purge. It's a mindset for living in the present. It encourages regular check-ins with your belongings, so your home stays aligned with your life. Ultimately, it's about creating a home that supports your real life, not a museum of forgotten intentions. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you make room for clarity, comfort, and the freedom to truly enjoy the space you call home. I decided to begin my decluttering journey with my closet, a space that had become a silent archive of my life. Each time I opened those doors, I was greeted by a jumble of memories, aspirations, and forgotten trends. It was more than just a collection of clothes. It was a reflection of all the different versions of myself I'd been over the years. My closet was overflowing with pieces from every phase, outfits from old jobs, dresses from special occasions, and impulse buys that never quite fit my style. It was a visual timeline of my changing tastes and shifting priorities, but also a source of daily stress. Determined to make a real change, I pulled every single item out and laid it all on my bed. The sheer volume was overwhelming, but seeing everything at once forced me to confront the reality of what I owned and how much of it I never actually used. With the 90-90 rule in mind, I picked up each piece and asked myself two simple questions. Have I worn this in the last 90 days? Will I wear it in the next 90? These questions cut through my indecision and nostalgia, making it easier to let go. That blazer from 3 years ago, the one I kept for just-in-case moments, it hadn't seen daylight in ages, and I knew deep down it never would. Into the donation pile it went, along with other items that no longer served me. As I worked through the mountain of clothes, the process became almost meditative. Pick up an item, ask the questions, make a decision. The rhythm was soothing, And with each choice, I felt a little more in control. Of course, some decisions required honesty and practicality. My winter coat, for example, wasn't needed in the summer, but it was essential for colder months. I realized that keeping certain seasonal items was not about clinging to the past, but about being prepared for the future. The 90-90 rule helped me distinguish between what was truly necessary and what I was holding on to out of habit or guilt. I separated my essentials from the excess, and for the first time, my closet began to make sense. By the end of the day, my closet was completely transformed. Every item left hanging was something I genuinely loved, wore often, or needed for a specific purpose. The clutter was gone, replaced by a sense of order and calm. Suddenly, getting dressed each morning became a source of inspiration instead of anxiety. I could see all my options clearly, and every piece felt like it belonged. I felt lighter, as if a hidden weight had been lifted from my shoulders. The mental clarity that came from a tidy closet spilled over into the rest of my day. That small but meaningful victory gave me the confidence to tackle other areas of my home. With a new perspective and a practical rule, I was ready to bring clarity and calm to every corner of my life. Next, let's step into the kitchen, the heart of our home, a place where memories are made, meals are shared, and, if we're honest, a magnet for all sorts of clutter. It's the one room that seems to attract not just people, but also an endless parade of mugs, gadgets, and utensils that somehow multiply when we're not looking. Every drawer and cabinet tells a story, but sometimes those stories are just about things we no longer need. I decided to start with the mug cabinet, which had become a chaotic jumble over the years. Applying the 90-90 rule, I asked myself, have I used this mug in the last 90 days? Will I use it in the next 90? The answers were often surprising. Some mugs were sentimental, others just took up space. We kept our absolute favorites, the ones we reach for every morning, and a few extras for when friends or family visit. The rest, even those with cute designs or old memories, were gently placed in a donation box. It felt good knowing they'd find new homes where they'd actually be used and appreciated. Suddenly, there were no more mug avalanches every time we opened the cabinet. The shelves looked calm and inviting, and it was so much easier to find what we needed. But then came the real challenge. The gadgets. That juicer from my brief health kick, the bread maker I used once, the spiralizer I swore would change my life. Each one came with a bit of guilt and a dash of wishful thinking. But the truth was, holding on to these things didn't make me healthier or more adventurous in the kitchen. It just made the space feel crowded and overwhelming. Letting go of those gadgets meant letting go of the fantasy version of myself, the one who juices every morning or bakes fresh bread every weekend. It was about accepting who I am now and what our family actually enjoys and uses. And that acceptance felt surprisingly freeing. After a full day of sorting, donating, and reorganizing, the kitchen felt transformed. The counters were clear, the cabinets were organized, and there was a sense of openness and efficiency that made the whole room feel lighter. Cooking became a joy again. With everything in its place, meal prep was faster, cleanup was easier, and even the kids wanted to help out more. The kitchen became a space for creativity and connection, not just chores. The 90-90 rule taught me that a truly functional kitchen isn't about having every gadget or tool imaginable. It's about having the right things, the ones that fit our real everyday life and bring us genuine happiness. Now, our kitchen finally reflects who we are as a family, not some fantasy version of ourselves. It's a space that feels personal, welcoming, and perfectly suited to the way we actually live. The hardest part? Sentimental items. Baby clothes, old letters, kids' art. The 90-90 rule needed a tweak. Have I cherished this in the last year? Does it bring joy or just obligation? I took photos of meaningful yearbook pages and let the books go. With the kids, we chose favorite art pieces for a treasure box and made a digital album for the rest. Honoring memories didn't mean keeping everything. Curating sentimental items made what we kept more meaningful. We learned that letting go of the physical doesn't erase the memory. We elevated our history by choosing what truly lifted our spirits. Once the decluttering was done, the changes went far beyond tidy drawers. Cleaning became quick and easy. Everything had a home. We stopped buying duplicates and became intentional shoppers, applying the 90-90 rule before every purchase. Our home felt lighter, brighter, and more peaceful. The kids played more creatively, and we spent more time together. Decluttering sparked conversations and teamwork. The process brought us closer as a family. Our home became a supportive, nurturing space. Not just a container for stuff, the clarity in our space created clarity in our relationships. The biggest transformation was mental. Clutter had been a constant, low-grade stress I didn't even notice. As it disappeared, my mind cleared. I felt focused and free. Letting go of unused things wasn't wasteful. It was a release from guilt and pressure. The 90-90 rule gave me permission to live in the present, not in the shadow of past or future selves. I started curating my time and commitments, just like my belongings. Decluttering became self-care, creating space for rest, creativity, and connection. Our home state reflected our minds, peaceful, intentional, authentic. The peace from a tidy room is wonderful, but the peace from a clear mind is life-changing. If you're overwhelmed by your stuff, start small. Pick one drawer or shelf, set a timer for 15 minutes, and apply the 90-90 rule. Use 3 boxes: donate, trash recycling, and relocate. Don't get sidetracked, sort first, deal with boxes after. Be kind to yourself. If you're stuck, use a decide later box and revisit it in a month. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. Celebrate your wins. Enjoy the order you've created. Decluttering is a gift to yourself and your family. It's a path to a more peaceful, intentional home. You have the power to create it, one small space at a time. Looking back, the 90-90 rule was more than an organizing hack. It was a catalyst for change. It helped us keep what we truly value and let go of what weighed us down. The process wasn't about deprivation, but about making room for peace, creativity, and connection. Our home became a curated collection of our story and intentions. Every item that remains has earned its place. The magic was in the permission to let go and embrace the present. We released the past, welcomed clarity, and built a more intentional future. That feeling of lightness and freedom is the real treasure.